the only just recompense for an offense against somebody that is infinitely holy would be an infinitely eternal punishment. What is your view of hell? Are you a eternal damnation, a universalist, or an annihilationist?
I think we're out of time.
Okay.
I agree with you because you just wrote an article on this actually in a Ford News book.
In IVP, it's an academic book that will be coming out, forthcoming. It's, you know how those books are. They never come out, but they're going to come out. So
I agree with the traditional view that hell is eternal conscious torment because that's what the Lord actually says, I think, in Matthew 25. If hell is described as eternal conscious torment, not torture, by the way, if it's eternal conscious torment and yet it's annihilation, it ends, then that would seem that heaven would end too, because it's described with the same word eternal. Now, I'm not a Greek scholar. I know you are. If you see any wiggle room in that?
No, my thought would be that if God is infinitely holy, the only just recompense for an offense against somebody that is infinitely holy would be an infinitely eternal punishment.
Right.
And I say that, I don't think that it's like the Dante-esque thing. I think it's just a place where people who have turned away from God, and we see this, I see it as a pastor all the time, people that have turned away from God, they sort of almost dehumanize in so many ways. You know, so it's an ugly place is all I can say. But I don't believe that people are annihilated, and I don't believe that everybody gets to heaven.
Right. I think there's a couple of misunderstandings too when it comes to hell. And one is people think, well, that would be unjust for God to have someone be tormented. And torment is more internally generated than externally generated. That would be torture. They think it's somehow unjust, but by definition, since God is the standard of justice, whatever happens in the afterlife can't be unjust.
That's right.
It has to be just. And people are also concerned, you mentioned, well, why would God punish someone for eternity for a temporal sin? What I think is often forgotten is the length of the crime, or the length it took to commit a crime, is not commensurate with the penalty one pays for the crime. It could take you 2 seconds to murder someone, but you don't earn a 2-second sentence in prison. It's obviously much longer. And also, I think the idea that hell is a place where people continue to sin also makes sense, that the punishment would go on.
I think that at the end of the day, I think what we want to do is we want to remove the Dante-esque view that there's like these pitchforks, all of this stuff. And you know, the Bible talks about being darkness. It talks about fire. It talks about, it's an unpleasant place.
Right.
It's a gnawing, you know, but I don't think it's literal flames. It's not a barbecue. You know,
it's not Florida.
Yeah, it's correct. So, yeah.